If you run a nonprofit, you're being told to use AI from every direction, while your team is already stretched thin. So let's be honest about where it actually helps and where it can quietly work against your mission. Start with two numbers. In the last year, the share of nonprofits familiar with AI jumped from 53 to 80%. That's Candid's 2025 research, but in a 2026 report from Virtuous and Fundraising.ai, only about 7% said AI has made a real difference to their work. Almost everyone knows about it. Almost no one is getting value from it. Closing that gap isn't about more technology. It's about protecting your staff's time and the mission that time is for. And the gap isn't random. It follows capacity. In TechSoup's 2025 benchmark, nonprofits over $1 million in revenue use AI at about 66%. Under $1 million, it's about 34%, roughly half the rate. And most nonprofits are small. About 9 in 10 operate under $1 million a year. So the organizations with the least staff time to spare are the ones falling behind. N10's data shows the same pattern. The smallest teams hit technology risk flags far more often than the large ones, 65% of the time versus 34%. This isn't really a technology gap. It's a capacity gap. And the teams who are already stretched are the ones it hits hardest. So what actually helps? When you look at where nonprofits are really using AI, and this is the Center for Effective Philanthropy's data, it's the back office first. Internal productivity, 35%. Communications, 31%. Fundraising and development, 24%. In plain terms, first drafts, summaries, cleaning up messy data, the report nobody has time to write. Used this way, AI gives your staff hours back for the work only people can do. The trouble starts when a tool meant to support your team gets treated like it can replace their judgment. That's when it turns from help into risk. There are 3 places it goes wrong, and they're all real. First, it makes things up. A raw, off-the-shelf chatbot invents details confidently. In one 2025 study, about 1 in 5 citations it generated were completely made up, and of the rest, nearly half had errors. Now picture that inside a grant application, a statistic about your community that isn't true, a funder guideline that doesn't exist, a program outcome you never had. It all reads beautifully, but send that to a funder, and the cost isn't time, it's trust, the relationship you've spent years building with a program officer. So the lesson isn't don't use AI for grants. It's simpler. Never send a funder something a machine wrote and a person didn't finish. Hold on to that. Second, your data. The free versions of the popular AI tools train on what you type into them by default. That's in their own documentation. So when a staff member pastes a donor list, a giving history, or a client's details into a free chatbot to clean it up, that information can leave your control. For an organization that runs on the trust of its donors and the people it serves, that's not a small thing. And again, the fix isn't to avoid AI. It's to use tools that keep your data private, the kind built for organizations that handle sensitive information, not the free consumer ones. Third, the funders haven't settled on this yet. As of Candid's 2024 survey, only 10% of foundations said they'd accept AI-written grant content. Nearly a quarter said they would not. The rest hadn't decided. What they're wary of is unverified, machine-written work landing on their desk, and that points back to the same simple practice. The draft can come from AI, but the finished application has to be yours. You check it, you finish it, you stand behind it. Meanwhile, only about 15% of nonprofits have any AI policy at all. So having a clear, human-in-the-loop process isn't red tape. It keeps you on the right side of every funder, and it protects the relationships your mission depends on. So here's what it comes down to. The nonprofits getting value from AI aren't using more of it. They're using it with care. A person reviewing anything a funder will see, their information in one organized place instead of scattered across free tools. And steady, repeatable workflows their team can actually rely on. That's how we built our own tools, with nonprofit staff in mind. GrantWiz keeps your grant information and your search for new funding in one place, instead of spread across a dozen tabs. And our grant writer takes a proposal about 90% of the way, so your team's time goes to the last 10% that only a person can do. The truth, the voice, the final check. The point was never the technology. It's giving your staff their time back and protecting the mission that time is for. That's the work we do at Automate Impact. We build practical tools that take the busy work off your team so you can focus on your impact. If you'd like to figure out where AI fits in your organization and where it doesn't, book a call at automateimpact.org/book. The link is in the description.